Segment three,
Three.
still in the meat and potatoes of the show. Got one lucky gal, NTS, Nicole Taylor Sharp today. It is second week of the month, and Nicole and I are marketing folks, and we love branding and projects, and we're discussing this stuff all the time. So a lot of our show has to do with that stuff. So if you're really interested in business and branding and all that, wow, listen to these segments because they're worth millions.
We try to give you lots of nuggets.
That's right.
It's a nugget-rich environment.
That's right. So, there's always it's interesting. There's always the folks that, and I always say it, the reason why a lot of people go to networking events is because it is the cheapest form of marketing, but of course it takes the longest time to get some results out of it. To really have a successful networking strategy, it literally takes time. You talk about the John Penningtons of the world who network and market and brand for years before they really get over that hump where everybody knows their name. And then, of course, there's the electronic way, and then there's the ways where you just spend a lot of money just to get in front of a lot of people.
Saturate, right?
So, to saturate. So, it is kind of interesting that it's so hard to get people who do the networking thing to do anything else. It does, I don't know how you feel about it, but for example, I look at your clients, and the majority of them, I don't see them at networking events. Isn't that interesting? So, what do you feel about that? Where literally, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
And because I'll tell you, someone who's out there got a new kind of a sales job, and she's out there doing okay, but her strategy is, I'm not going to any more networking events because I've just spent too many years talking to the same people, blah, blah, blah. And she is literally saying, I am staying out of the Mighty 500.
Well, because too many people spend their time networking and they don't do it efficiently, and they don't do it well.
Right.
They go to networking events and just figure, I'm going to show up.
Right.
I'm going to show up often. You're going to get to know me. We're going to drink together. We're going to, shoot the shoot.
Right.
And then you wait for the business to be gleaned from it, and that doesn't happen. The other person is the one that goes to the networking event to gather cards and then put you on their pester list.
Right.
And then and they consider it follow-up. That's the follow-up that I've done, because now you're on my email news list
right.
that you didn't subscribe to,
right.
or you're sending me that email right away and asking for an hour of my time to
right.
to drive across town and sit down and do a coffee and do a one-on-one, so then I can give you my business. And and people avoid them like the plague,
right.
and they just wonder, why isn't this working? And my suggestion, my
right.
number one suggestion when you go into networking, because the reason why I network still,
right.
even though the majority of my clients I am not gleaning from within the rooms of
right.
networking,
right.
it's because my strategy for networking is not to get business in that room. It's not.
Okay.
It is to become a person of influence and to build a reputation and to build my brand.
Okay.
And I stick very true to what my
right.
brand is. It's authentic. It's me, and that's why it's resonated and it's worked.
That's right there. Was the $1 million line. Every time we do one of these shows, Nicole Taylor Sharp, there's always a $1 million line. When John Pennington was here and he said, hey, if you're a business owner, 5 o'clock means nothing to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a $1 million line.
That was a great interview.
Okay. Here's what she just said. I don't go to networking events to try to sell business or whatever out of the room. I go there to become a person of influence. Mm-hmm. Did the light bulb just go off in your head? Okay, you are there to build a distribution network of people so that you can use that as a sphere of influence.
And yeah, you have to realize, and sometimes it does take sitting down with a business consultant,
mm-hmm.
like myself, like you, whatever it is, to get some market analysis and research on what it is that you are capable of being influenced? Where are your
Right.
strengths? Because oftentimes we cannot see the forest through the trees and see what most people see as being our most valuable assets that we
Right.
bring to the room. Once you know what those assets are, then it's just really a matter of consistently capitalizing upon those assets. Then make sure that, because if you're the person that's always buying the drink and holding the door open and that's what you figured, oh, I'm the nicest guy in the room.
Right.
But people really don't know, you haven't given them a call to action, what it is that you do, your sellable product, your end results,
Right.
you're still not going to glean business from being out there networking. So like with John Pennington, for
Right.
example, it's a good example of him. He had something that was very sellable, very understandable.
Right.
You knew why he was there. It was not to hit on girls, although he's very charming and very attractive.
John hit on girls? Come on.
Save that for another time. But he did ingratiate himself. Getting those pictures
Right.
with people, letting them ride along with his brand and his sphere of influence, always having something good to say, being helpful.
Right.
And he always would tie it back to where he could be most helpful, which was, yes, I'm building this great brand and I would love to help you do it. You don't have a stand-up banner. The
Right.
stand-up banner, it is everything, and
It's money.
it's money. So he had always tied back to something that was sellable, better business cards, same day quick printing.
Right.
But it was in the way that he did it. He ingratiated himself with his charm
Right.
and his interest in you.
Right.
So that made a difference for him. So it was the perfect storm, the perfect combination. Then he also invested in the right type of marketing. He was on the Danny Vegas
He's on there
platform
for years.
for years.
Right.
So even when John wasn't in the room, he was still in the room because he had his crew, his posse, his marketing team that was there with him
Right.
too. Now you can hire your marketing team and you should invest in good marketing.
Right.
Or you can find those alliances. So when you're not in the room, but you've got your tight squad.
Right.
And if I'm in the room and there's someone that needs graphic design, and I don't do graphic design,
That's
but
right.
I've got a couple of folks that I'm really tight with
That's right.
that do graphic design, their name will be mentioned whether they're there or not.
That's right. And that's what happens when you build relationships with people where you gain their trust. You get an army of people that are promoting your stuff, promoting your business, your service. You can't get that from a Facebook campaign. You can't. It's different. So I tell people all the time, and you are so true. I mean, networking is, what do I always say? Everything's a campaign.
Yeah.
Everything is a campaign. Networking is a campaign that takes time and energy. And I'm going to get into something really kind of, maybe a little controversial in segment 4. I want to talk about MLMs.
Okay.
I want to go there because, even at my own events, man, first 3 people in the room, bam, 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 MLMs.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to be truthful about it. So
I feel wholly qualified to weigh in on that, and there will be not poison that's coming from me from that particular industry.
Right.
Now that industry can be done really badly, really
Right.
poorly executed, really can fail.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But you're right. Everything should be looked at as a campaign. And when you start any campaign, there has got to be, number one, you need to figure out right away what is your end result, what is your
Right.
goal for this activity or budget or investment. When you're investing in this, what's your end goal? And then once you know what that goal is, you need to reverse engineer a strategy on what are the steps to get to that goal. Now, for many people where I think that they miss it, especially when they're the sole entrepreneurs
Right.
and they're living on a shoestring budget and they're
Right.
living on that $1 million smile and
Right.
$14 in their bank account,
right.
they do not take the time or the money to invest in getting that outside person to help them. There's
Right.
groups in town, there's networking groups that will help you up your networking game for
Right.
free. There's lots of articles that you can read, or you can really just get that sincere feedback from folks.
That's right.
Jill Branson with the Hobnob Connectors, she's got a
Yeah,
new
she just kind
networking
of got that
business.
started, and then she's she's an influencer.
She's an influencer, but she's also all about teaching people how to network better, and she's not going to charge you a lot for it. So I recommend her too. Mark Weinberger with the Lead Team is another good resource.
There you go. Always. Okay, segment 4, MLMs. Let's get into it next.